I want to speak about a subject today that I feel very strongly about, and that is safety in industry. If you have been exposed to my articles or my videos over a number of years, I have on and off written about safety or had videos about safety, and I probably have focused a bit more on safety in mining because that's part of my background, part of my family's background, and I've worked in a coal supply chain across each element of the coal supply chain, so safety was always something that I'd been a part of, initiatives and things like that. So I do feel very strongly about it, and like I said, I do focus on the mining industry, and unfortunately we've started another year with a fatality, and about 4 years ago, so it would have been 2020, there was a fatality on a mining site on the 12th of January, and I wrote an article about that, and there were some telling things about that. But what I'll say first off is that it doesn't matter whether it's the 12th of January, the 12th of January, or it's the 312th day of the year. We're still having fatalities. With all that we know about safety, all of the research and data that's out there, these things are still happening, and we have to ask why. If I go back to that article that I wrote about the fatality that happened on the 12th of January, what really stood out for me at the time, and I did write in that article about how when I write about safety, and I could be a bit forward about it, the interactions around those articles weren't always that great. Yes, did a lot of people read them? That's right, they did. But whether they were willing to actually like it or say or comment, that was not always the case. And especially with this one about the 12th of January, what the real standout was that the number of people who messaged me privately about it, because and didn't like the post online, and you have to wonder why. Is there that concern about, people are seeing me agreeing with this, what impact does that have on me? And I have to say, I have seen and heard a number of conversations, especially over the last couple of years, where I'm hearing people talk about the safety issues within the organisations that they work in, and where they're raising this stuff, but they're concerned about the impact to themselves. And I've got to say, the impact to their career, because they've spoken up and they're pushing around safety issues. I've found that there's been this common theme of, safety being pushed within organisations around, control and threat and fear. If you don't do this, this is going to be the repercussion. Let's scare people into being safe. And look, that doesn't work. And I've also worked in organisations, and I've been part of those organisations that have had the zero harm motto. And look, and I understand why that was the case. And look, and I went along with that too. But the reality is that we're human beings. We're fallible. We're going to make mistakes. And the reality is that we do learn from our mistakes. I would say in that case that we want to learn from our mistakes before we get to the top of that safety triangle and have a fatality. We really don't want that happening. I'm sure that, there are many leaders out there who really don't want their people to work in an unsafe way. I hope that's the case. But you do then have to ask, well, what are the behaviours that the leaders are demonstrating, or the words that they're using? What is that saying to their team members? And then how are their team members behaving? I mean, I've been very fortunate to work in an organisation where we had a no-blame culture. Things happened, we learnt from them. It wasn't a finger-pointing exercise. And to be fair, there probably are cultures out there that behave that way. We rely a lot on, you know, the JSAs, take fives, those sorts of things that we do. Are they important? Yes. Should they be done? Yes. But it's how we approach it. You know, how are we going into that and thinking about, well, what could go wrong today? What could happen? And sometimes our complacency is that, you know, we've done this 1,000 times, nothing's ever happened before. Well, it just might be that day. There's always something that could happen. And I mean, I've been fortunate recently to be a part of a refresh on a program that I am privileged to deliver, which is called Switch On. So Accredited, the company, has been delivering Switch On for a number of years, and it is a really powerful program, which is, like it says, it's about switching people on to safety and, you know, giving people that voice to speak up when things aren't safe and make that change. Because let's be honest, there are too many stories where people haven't spoken up and they've had to then live with the consequence of something that didn't end well. And really, we all should be able to have that ability to speak up and say, this isn't right. I'm not going to work in this unsafe condition. Do you really want me to work in this unsafe condition? Are you willing to wear the consequence? You know, it's like I said, I've worked in an organisation where we were able to speak up. We could make decisions about our business because safety was part of what we do. And that brings me to something else that is a real bugbear of mine, and there will be people who disagree with me, and I'm fine with that. But I really do not like it when I hear people saying safety is a priority or safety is our top priority. Well, priorities slip. You know, you can have a priority today, but it's not your priority tomorrow. Safety should be a part of how we operate. It's just a part of what we do. It's part of the culture. And, you know, some people talk about safety being a value. Okay, but is it a core value? Some people might say it's a principle. You can fight over that. I won't even debate it. But saying it's a priority, like I said, priorities slip. So I suppose the last thing I want to leave with you is that as leaders, what are you doing? What are you saying that's ensuring that, you know, if you truly believe in safety is what we do day in, day out, this is the foundations of how we operate. What are you saying to your team? What's the impression they're getting? And team members, what are you doing as well? Are you looking after the person beside you? Regardless of whether you're great mates or not, are you watching out for the people beside you? And are you looking after yourself as well? Because as a Switch On program we'll talk about, you know, there are things that we need or want to be safe for. It's not about being safe from something, it's about being safe for something. And when we bring together the people, the systems and the environment that we work in, and safety is just part of what we do and we are switched onto it, it can make the difference between, you know, whether we go home in the same way that we came to work. And that's what we all want, isn't it?